It's 2025 and I have a lot of goals for things I want to do with my plants this year, how I want them to look. And so I want to kick off this new year right with a bunch of different plant chores. I'm calling this my 2025 Planty Reset, and I want to take you all along with. So let me look at my to-do list. We have a bunch of fun stuff to do. We're going to be putting some more sphagnum moss in my moss pole plants and rigging something up so that they get watered a bit more. We're going to be watering my Ikea cabinet plants. I have some moss poles that I finally found, guys. I thought I lost them in the move, but we found them, so we're going to unwrap those, take stock of how many I have. We're going to stake up my philodendron gloriosum. I want to show you an update on my silver band maranta because it's finally looking better thanks to some advice you guys gave me, and we're going to clean it up a little bit. We are going to take some pollen from my anthurium silver blush right here and freeze it to save for later. And finally, I have a crawling philodendron that I'm going to pin down to the soil so I can get it to grow in a circle, which I'm really excited about. So without further ado, let's get started. So since I'm already in my sunroom, it feels only fitting to start with the plant that's in my sunroom, my anthurium silver blush. This has been blooming for quite some time, actually. It also has a dead leaf there, maybe we should chop off. But yeah, this bloom has been growing quite a lot. There it is, and it has a little burnt tip because it was in my office in front of under a grow light, and it just got too close to the grow light and burned off. And so then later I moved it into my sunroom after I put curtains up so that it wouldn't be too sunny in here. And anyway, I've never done this, but I thought that this would be a good time to try saving some pollen so that I can pollinate itself maybe in the future. By the way, we're supposed to get snow today, so that's gonna be really interesting. I'm really hoping I don't have to go into the office tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping for at the moment. Okay, so, oh my gosh, my leg's cramping. So what I'm gonna do is take some tin foil, and from what I read online, the best thing you can do is get it to be horizontal. And I think I might actually cut the flower off to do this. I have no reason to keep the flower, so let me go get some shears. For years, I just used scissors for my plants, and I finally, after moving here, got some actual plant shears, which has been really nice. But anyway, we're going to just chop this flower off because I think that's just gonna be easier. There we go. So then this actually becomes really easy. I'm already seeing some on here. You just tap the pollen. I think maybe I could freeze the whole flower. I'm not really sure. Oh my gosh. And basically what you can do, from what I've read, I've never done it, is freeze this, or I could refrigerate it if I only needed to save it for a week or so. But I can freeze this, and then when my anthurium silver blush has a bloom again, I can take this pollen and a little brush and brush the pollen onto the flower, and it will pollinate itself, and you get these little berries that then you can plant and have more plants. You can also do it and cross-pollinate different types of anthurium. I don't know if I have any anthurium that would be able to pollinate with my silver blush, so I don't really know what I'll do, but I'm just gonna fold this up now as best as I can, and then we'll just freeze this. I'm just gonna leave it flat, I think. Okay, I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. Maybe I'll put this in a baggie and then freeze it. So with a little luck, the anthurium pollen should last up to 6 months. If I end up getting a bloom much later than 6 months, I'll probably try it anyway. And hopefully we can get some little baby anthurium eventually. But we're in my office now, and the plant that I want to start working on in here first is my philodendron gloriosum. This thing is huge. So the philodendron gloriosum is probably my favorite plant. And I used to have a bunch of them back when I lived in Iowa, but now I'm down to just this one. And they do this thing where they kind of sprawl out. And we're just gonna start with this first one by just putting this stake back down in. But then I have some other stakes. Let's see. Yeah, this just isn't really holding it in there right now. Let's see, that should help a little. And then I have some other stakes for these ones that currently aren't staked. See how far they lean forward? This one in the back is standing up pretty straight. So for this, I'm going to be using these garden stakes as well as just some plant Velcro. You could use twine or string or anything. I just like the Velcro because it's green. It's kind of almost the same color as the stake and the stem, so it blends in. And I just got these yesterday in a plant shopping video that will either be coming out very soon or is already out. Yeah, these are kind of thinner, but they're 2 feet, and I just felt like that would probably be a good size. There's also a new leaf coming out, which is exciting, but something pretty unique about my philodendron gloriosum, in my opinion, is they are a crawling plant, so they crawl along the bottom, but I have this one going around in a circle, which means that it theoretically should take up a little less space, which is pretty freaking cool if I do say so myself. This is my only philodendron gloriosum that I've had grow like this. My previous ones I just had in a really long pot. And you know, I'll probably take cuttings of this. Frankly, these grow super quickly, so sometime soon. And also have one that's growing in a long pot. I really love these plants. I like having multiples of them, but we're not there yet. This one definitely still has some room to grow. These are kind of crossing over each other, but I think I'm gonna leave it. Philodendron gloriosums get a lot of extra floral nectaries, which is this sticky sap-like substance. And so it's good to shower them off a lot. And so this one's probably due for a little shower because my hands are getting a little sticky. Let's see. I'm feeling pretty good about that. That is just taking up a lot less space than it was before. And here you can really see the stem and how it's going along the outside of the pot. That's my biggest tip if you want to grow crawling philodendron and have them take up less space. Look at how good this looks. So this is how it's looking in this corner. I think I want to mess around with how I have it arranged. So now you can't see the prettiest. Well, you never really could see the prettiest leaf that well. Just try scooting it out maybe a bit. Let's try that. We're gonna try that and see. I know that that has most of the leaves facing the back, but it has this huge one facing the front. And when I work from home, I take my meetings so that you can see this in the background. So this is kind of fun that you can see this leaf. But anyway, let's look into my Ikea cabinet. Okay, before we do that, let's look at my little to-do list. So we staked up the gloriosum and we grabbed the pollen from the anthurium silver blush. So 2 things down. Now let's water some of my Ikea plants. So I have the fan going and the lights going, and these are on a timed outlet, and so I don't have to do anything, which is really nice. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk through how I water all of my plants, really, kind of my watering routine. But first, I'm gonna take out some of the plants that I know don't need watered. We're actually gonna be working on this plant, this anthurium, in a bit, so I'm just gonna move it out of the way as that's one of my moss pole plants. But yeah, I am still very much, and still just meaning, I think that this gets talked about as mostly a beginner plant parent thing, but I really love it. I'm a moisture meter person. I just really like this as a way to be certain, like basically use data to tell me whether my plant needs watered or not. So basically you just put this in and it tells you on a scale from 1 to 10 how dry your plant is. And it's just a good kind of double check. I don't super live by it. This I can already tell is pretty dry, this Tradescantia Yellow Gem or Yellow Hill, I can't remember. I can never remember which one it is. I think it's Yellow Hill, but I can tell that this needs watered, so that's gonna get watered. I'm not even gonna try the moisture meter, but let's say this Hoya obovata Splash And a lot of the plants in my Ikea greenhouse cabinet are ones that I potted up in a recent video where I potted up all of the cutting, not all of them, but many of the cuttings that I took before I moved. And you can see this is still pretty wet. Definitely when you get towards the top, it's a little bit drier, but you can also get a good idea when you take the stem out. Because you can see all the dirt particles on this, you can tell that it's pretty wet. So I'm probably not gonna water that one. Most of the plants in here that were cuttings, I am going to generally try to water a bit more than if it was just a normal plant because they were cuttings and I'm trying to establish them. But that one still seems pretty wet. So let's see. This green heartleaf philodendron, let's give this a try. What's that say? You tell me. Should I water it? I'm gonna say yes. It's like a 2. I'm gonna say yes. The readings can get a little funky when your plant is root bound because when this thing jams into a root, it just messes up the reading. So you kind of just have to be aware of how root bound your plant is, and also the substrate that you use can make a difference because if you jam into like a rock, that's also going to mess up your reading. But anyway, I think moisture meters aren't that, you know, groundbreaking, but I really swear by mine. So I can fit about 2 plants in this sink, and my office is closest to our guest bathroom and laundry room. I also thought that my washer was done, but it's not, so excuse that in the background. But the way that I normally water is I kind of go throughout the day. So I would take, honestly, usually more like 1 plant at a time, though I can fit 2. That way you can kind of like wash your hands to the side. You know, if there's 1 plant here, then I can still wash my hands on this other side. But for the sake of the video and watering a bit more quickly, I will do it this way, where I'll just, you know, we'll do a bunch of waterings. But normally I do throughout the day, kind of as I can. And in this house, it's very different because my house in Iowa had 1 bathroom and 1 kitchen, and those were our 2 sinks. And here we have 2 bathrooms and a kitchen, and so I have taken to kind of having watering stations where all of my plants that are closest to this bathroom get watered in this bathroom, all of the plants that are closest to the kitchen get watered in the kitchen, and all of the plants that are closest to our primary bathroom get watered there. And so I actually really want to have 3 moisture meters for each area, but I just haven't invested in that yet. While those are draining, let's keep looking in here. I have this mini Phalaenopsis orchid that I'm hoping to repot soon. And you can tell when, oh geez, this is the bad thing about having carpet in your plant room is that I care a lot about spilling things. But you can tell when orchids need watered when their roots aren't green anymore. And these are still looking green and plush. So I'll leave that. I probably honestly could water that, but I'll leave it for now. Then I have my Hoya compacta. Got some sun stressing on the top of it. Let's see. This one is one that's root bound, and so the moisture meter doesn't tell me a lot, but I think it's still moist. So you can see all the substrate still on there. Oh my gosh. Okay. And usually I have a little Kleenex to wipe this off, so BRB. Kleenex acquired. A couple of these I have watered recently, but my banana tree in the back, it's been a little bit, so let's check on it. And it's saying dry, so I'll probably water that. I don't know how dry it really is, but I don't want this one to be underwatered at all. While we're at it, I think we should just cut off some of these. They're a bit unsightly. Okay, cool. So on the bottom row, we have a couple plants. I have watered this anthurium fingers recently, so I'm gonna assume that one's good, but I haven't watered this. Let's see. Yeah, that's looking quite moist, so I think we're okay there. I hope it's doing okay, because that's, I don't know that it should be moist still. Haven't watered it in a while, but it is moist. And then I'll try this philodendron. The new potting soil that I've been using is really chunky, so it does make it hard to use the moisture meter. This one's looking kind of on the edge. I think I'll leave this one be for now. And I've watered this one recently, but I'll double check. Yeah, we'll leave that one for now, but probably water it soon. Okay, so just my banana tree. I'll go swap that out for the other 2 plants that are currently in the sink. We're back in my sunroom. I do like to leave my messier tasks to be in non-carpeted areas. So I have 3 of my project plants, and we're gonna start out with this crawling philodendron. I'll get you a little bit closer once we get started, but this is a philodendron that I want to have crawl in a circle, but it's not wanting to at the moment. And the trick to get a plant to do that is to pot it pretty low and leave a good chunk of pot so it kind of butts up against the pot and doesn't have anywhere else to go. And there's a chance I didn't pot this one low enough, but we're gonna try to rectify it with a couple of bobby pins. These are, I guess they might just be called hairpins, not bobby pins. They look like this as the other side. So hopefully we can use these to get this plant to grow how we want it to. Alrighty, so you can see that the stem of this new leaf is just kind of growing a little bit crazily. So we're gonna do our best to actually pin this down. I don't know how well this is gonna go, but hopefully then it will get the picture that I want it to crawl along the ground in a circle. My gloriosum did this naturally. I didn't have to force it, but we'll see. I was maybe gonna start out with just that one bobby pin, but maybe I'll do two. That seems to be cutting into it too much. Okay. Yeah, I think this other one is too fresh of a leaf for me to want to mess with it too much. So I think I'll just leave it like that for now. Definitely looks a little crazy, but hopefully over the long term, this will grow how I want it to. We'll see. And my next two project plants are my Thai constellation and my anthurium that I mentioned earlier. And the big thing with both of these is that they need some more moss in their moss bowls. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go soak some sphagnum moss and fill these babies up. And then also what I'm gonna do with this Thai constellation, because this one is in room humidity, the moss dries out super quickly. It's hard for me to keep up with. Whereas the anthurium is in my Ikea greenhouse cabinet, so it's, you know, you can see it now, it's very moist. And so my Thai constellation, I'm going to take this little cup, we're gonna poke some holes in it and basically put it in the pole like this, and then I can water the cup and it can slowly trickle down. I did this when I lived in Iowa, and then I got rid of the cups when we moved, and I've regretted it since. So I'm trying to find restaurants where they give these cups. I got this one the last time I got a massage. She was like, you need some water, and just gave me this cup on my way out. So hopefully the next time I get a massage, they'll do the same thing. I've been getting massages because I've been having some nerve issues in my arm. Great times. But anyway, hopefully they'll give me another cup, and then I can do this with my anthurium, and eventually I'm gonna have a lot more moss pole plants. So anyway, let's start with these two for now. Let's go get some moss soaking. So I don't always love getting my hands dirty with sphagnum, and you can tell that this moss is far more moist than the moss that's already in here. Been struggling to keep up with keeping the moss moist in here for sure, which the closed back moss poles definitely do help with that, but you still really do have to keep up with watering. And I'd really like my Thai constellation to grow because I don't have a big Monstera deliciosa anymore. And so this could be my big Monstera deliciosa if it will grow enough to be a huge plant. Hopefully it likes this. I also really wonder if it's root bound. This is such a small pot and Monsteras have such large roots. Would not be surprised. Let's take a look. I think I am seeing some roots in there, so maybe I'll add this. Actually, I will. I literally do have a list of plants to repot. It's not a figurative list, it is a literal list. I will add this to the list, and let me look around. I have a lot of plants to repot. I really do. And the cool thing also about these closed back poles is that they stack really easily. So if this plant gets so big that I need a second moss pole on top, That is no problem. And so I want to leave enough room that I can slot that moss pole in eventually. So this will probably be the last chunk of moss that I do. And also we want to be able to fit a little cup in there, but we'll get to the cup in a second. Now let's work on this anthurium, which is really desperate for moss. It's already growing above. So I'm glad we're doing this. I think this definitely should be enough moss too. So that's good because moss is not cheap. This plant has been so easy for me. When I bought it, the advice I got was just that it didn't like to dry out and it liked to climb. And so I put it in a ceramic pot. I put it in my Ikea greenhouse cabinet and I put it on a moss pole, and I've never had an issue with it since. It has been growing for me, easy peasy. So that's been really nice, but it definitely isn't sizing up or anything like that, but the leaves are quite pretty. And of course I'm making a mess, so I'll have to clean that up later, but such is the life of owning plants, always making a mess. And this actually isn't going to be enough sphagnum. So soon we're gonna unwrap the moss poles that I already have, and then we're gonna have to take stock of how many moss poles I'm gonna need to put together, which if it's a lot, I think we're gonna have to be buying some more moss on Amazon. But we got close to the top. This will definitely be good for now. I can always top it off some more later. And yeah, this one doesn't really need the cup. So I'm just gonna call this good for now. Just leave it there. Get this cup situation figured out. So I have little thumbtack, and this is what we're gonna be using to put holes in the cup. Okay, so really I only need one. And is this the most efficient way? Probably not. Also, I think the holes are usually too small, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try this. So what you want to do is find the balance where you have enough holes that the water is trickling out slowly, but not too slowly, and it's not gushing. So we're gonna start out, oh my gosh, that was loud. We're gonna start out with three holes, and that's probably not gonna be enough. I'm dropping my pins, that's not good. That's probably not gonna be enough, but here is our demonstration of how fast it will trickle. And you can see nothing's happening. So this has happened to me before. Something about the water pressure, I don't know. But I guess I'll just dump this back in the watering can. I've done this before where I get overzealous and then it goes too fast. So I'm gonna try, honestly, probably just one at a time. It'd probably also help if the holes were maybe a little bigger. I don't know, we'll try this. Okay, now we're dripping. So that's good. But I think it's a little slow still. Maybe just a little too slow. So we're gonna try one more. And hope that that wasn't just the decider that makes this go way too fast. Okay, something weird happened and now nothing. Oh wait, there we go, we have some dripping. That seems like a good speed. I don't know how well you can super see that, but I'm pretty happy with that speed. So, woohoo, okay, that aspect is done. Let's unwrap some moss poles next. Okay, back in the sunroom, or still in the sunroom, I should say, but different angle, because why not? And let's unpack some of these. So, these were wrapped up by the movers when we moved. And I straight up, I was like, I don't know what happened to them, but they're gone. I don't know, couldn't find them anywhere. And they were in our guest room, which we honestly still haven't super unpacked, but they were found, which is good news because sphagnum moss is expensive. And I just thought it'd be fun to take stock with you guys on what I have. Yeah, it looks like I have 2 moss poles here. This one is looking pretty full. I'll have to soak these. I'm not gonna do it today because I'm not ready to pot them up, but I'm considering soaking these in my bathtub. That feels like not a bad idea. And then here's another one. I'll probably scoot that one that way. So these moss poles have a piece on the bottom that's fully plastic, and sometimes I would accidentally pot it up backwards, and I think this was a case where I did that. but this one, actually this might have been like a stacked moss pole. Very much making a huge mess now. And actually I'm not really sure where I'm gonna put these moss poles once I get them unwrapped. Also, I got the Shark Flex Fusion for Christmas. And I have been trying so hard to do my hair, and I really like how much volume it gives me, but I've just been really struggling. My hair holds a curl super well, but just not with the Flex Fusion, but I think I finally figured it out today. I'm so excited. Anyway, I'm back at it. I actually thought that I only had 3 of these, but there's 2 in each, so that's pretty exciting. This one is another full moss pole that was definitely being used. I feel like if I looked, I might even find roots in here. And then here we have a second one. Maybe I'll put these in like a bin. Perhaps I shouldn't have unwrapped them until I was ready to use them. I think a bin makes sense. Realistically, I'm gonna throw them into the garage and just hope that nothing starts to live in them, like bug-wise. The bugs here are terrifying. Okay, 2 in here. Cool. So yeah, 6 total. That's really awesome. And I can always add more moss. This is another one that needs to be scooted. Okay, there we go. Sometimes I will add all of the moss that is just everywhere. Sometimes I will add, like, do the full moss pole right at the beginning. As you can see, like this one is all the way full, but it's not really needed at the beginning. And so if I don't have a ton of moss or don't feel like it, or I don't know, pretty much those 2 things, then I will only fill it up like halfway or something like that. So these should definitely work for the little baby plants I'm gonna use them for. And let's check in on those actually. So these are the prop boxes that I'm gonna be potting up. And there aren't too many plants left. I've already potted up a number of these. And I went through and just figured out how many I want to put on a moss pole. So 2 in here are going on a moss pole. So that's, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's all of these right there. And then it looks like I will just need to put together 1 more. So a 7th, that's not too bad. I have other plastic moss poles around my house, so that shouldn't be a problem, but this is what this bin is looking like. I'm hoping to get these potted up maybe like this weekend. It's kind of crazy. It's supposed to snow tonight and it's quite cold today for Texas. I want to say it's like feels like 18 degrees Fahrenheit, and then Saturday is supposed to be 66 degrees Fahrenheit, so that'll be a good potting up day. This is what this bin is looking like. Everything is still alive, pretty luscious. And yeah, the majority of these are either going on a stake or a trellis or a moss pole. And here is what this one is looking like. I think we only have 1 more chore to do. Yeah, let me go show you guys my maranta silver band. Maybe my bangs are flinging out a bit more than I want them to, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with my hair. Anyway, we are in my laundry room for the very last chore of this video, which is going to be working on my maranta silver band. And I have a bunch of clothes drying. Let me move these out of the way. Anyway, this is my silver band maranta, and you can hear all the crispy crisping, but overall, she's looking so good. So this plant was not doing very well for me, and I could not figure out why. And it was still growing, but just like was getting a lot of dead leaves. And then I got some suggestions from you guys to give it distilled water. And that wasn't something that I had to do when I was in Iowa, but obviously the tap water here is different. And just look at how big these fresh leaves are, and it's flowering, which we love to see. But yeah, there's still all of these crispy leaves. Look at that. It looks really bad. So we're gonna be cleaning this up next. This is my plant that needs the most trimming up, so this will be really good to get done. And I obviously had to wait until the laundry was done to get started, because otherwise this would have been really loud. Yeah, I just keep this guy. Wow, yeah, we have some whole little stalks that are pretty much fully dead. Oh my gosh. It's also maybe looking a little dry. I also wonder if it's root bound, so maybe I'll unpot it and take a look. This is gonna make a mess. Oh my gosh, everything is making a mess today. Okay, this little stalk is pretty much looking dead, but I won't cut the whole thing off just in case. Do we think this is root bound? I don't know. Yeah, I keep this in my laundry room, and I would say the typical humidity in here, there's no I would say. I can tell what the typical humidity is. And it's around like 30% right now since it's the winter. And when I walked in this room where the door was shut and everything, it said 75% because I'm drying a bunch of clothes in here. But yeah, now it's just saying 60. So yeah, it definitely gets a lot of humidity, just not consistently. And it's right next to a south window. And so it doesn't get any direct light from the south window, but it definitely gets quite a bit of indirect light, which I imagine it likes. They're so pretty and purple right now. And actually the best time to do this to Maranta is at night because all of their leaves fold up at night, and that's why they're called prayer plants, because they pray at night. So I almost thought about filming this part at nighttime, but I'm here. This is our last chore. Might as well get it done. This feels so good. Let me know what you think, if you think I should check on this plant's roots to see if it's also root bound. It's just really weird to me that the newest leaves are so huge. Like clearly it's happy, it's just also unhappy. I don't know. A lot of this is probably residual. I just realized this is the first plant chores video that I filmed in Texas. That's kind of crazy. It didn't even cross my mind until just now, which is funny because it probably should have. I had to be thinking about, all the angles to film things at and stuff like that, because I just haven't filmed a lot here. And so it should have been top of mind, but it really just hit me. Look at how purple this one is. Are you kidding me? It's stunning. Oh my gosh. Okay, she is looking better for sure. Little haircut. I'm normally not that big on cutting off just the yellow part of a leaf, but I've been doing it more, and it's working pretty well for me. There she is in her glory, and here is the mess that I made. Thank you so much for watching this video as I got all of my plants together for 2025. I feel like the only big plant chores I have left now are uppotting my cuttings and repotting a bunch of plants, which feels really good to kind of get a lot of the miscellaneous stuff out of the way. If you liked this video, please comment below and let me know that you want to see more plant chores videos. And make sure to subscribe so you can see me uppot and repot so many of my plants. And also do a lot of plant shopping because I still have so much growing to do with my plant collection. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!